record. There we go. So hi, I'm Sue Dowdell. I'm the library director here in Springfield, and we've been working with Black River Action Team for a number of programs this year. And I'm going to turn it over to Kelly, who is the head of the Black River Action Team.
Well, thank you. I wanted to give a big thank you to Sue and Tracy and the whole staff at the Springfield Town Library. You guys have made this and several other presentations happen this year. You've been very patient with me learning how to Zoom. So as Sue mentioned, I started the Black River Action Team over 20 years ago. It's based here in Springfield, Vermont, because that's where I live. And the reason I started it was because I love rivers. I don't like to see trash in them. I don't like to see them ignored or abused or neglected. I just like to be out on them and enjoy them. Scenic beauty as the water just slides around a slow bend, or the exhilaration of a crashing waterfall. There's several of them in the state. Just the incredible collection of creatures, large and small, the seen and the unseen, the really tiny ones. They inhabit the river from the bed all the way up to the banks and beyond. And there's just so much to see and enjoy about a river, the poetry, the science, the nature, what's around the next bend. It's such an adventure just being on a river. And my goal in everything that I do with the BRAT for 20 years centers around connecting people to the river. The river is great, it's beautiful, it's wonderful if I'm going to enjoy it, but it's even better if everybody's out there enjoying it as much as they're able to. And I can't think of any better way to do that than to entice people to get out next to, or better yet, on the river in some way, whether they're swimming, they're tubing, paddling. And this is where Valley Questing really comes in. It's an adventure of our own making. We're drawing willing participants into quite literally a treasure hunt of science, history, poetry that's embodied in all the rivers and streams, the lakes, the ponds, the wetlands that are all around us. And so I'm extremely excited to have Sandy Gmur of Vital Communities here to share with us the how-tos and the wherefores of crafting your own water-based Valley Quest adventure. So without further ado, I will happily turn over tonight's presentation to Sandy, and I will try to mute myself.
Thank you, Kelly, and thank you, Sue, and please pass on my thanks to Tracy for all of you setting this up. And I am really thrilled to be able to talk to you tonight a little bit about a little bit about the history of Valley Quest, and then how you yourselves may be able to craft your own quest, a waterway quest. And so bear with me. I am fairly new to sharing my screen and doing that through Zoom, but hopefully this will all go smoothly. So I am going to do this right now. And okay, so you can all see that. Wonderful. And I'm going to do this over here. Okay, so we will save the questions to the end, but please don't hesitate to type them into the chat if you think of something as I'm going along. But Valley Quest is a program of Vital Communities, and it has been around for a long time. So let me, keeping with our water theme, across the ocean came an idea. And that idea was letterboxing. And letterboxing is a long-standing tradition in the Dartmoor region of the UK that takes you across the moors, following maps and rhyming clues in search of hidden boxes. And in 1996, this idea was adapted by Vital Communities to connect people to special places and stories within their communities, which really ties into part of the mission of Vital Communities that is all about connecting the Upper Valley communities through their stories and their shared challenges. And so quests play a big part in this. And now 25 years later, we have over 160 quests throughout the Valley, and they are monitored by over 60 volunteers. So anybody can become a volunteer. Usually if you write a quest and you have some attachment to it and it becomes part of our directory, you may want to be the monitor for that quest. And we can talk a little bit more about that later. So what can a waterway quest be about? Well, there are, three main elements to consider as you make your quest. And these are historical, cultural, and environmental elements. And they all have an importance to making your quest interesting and exciting to people that might go on the quest. In the historical side of things, you might want to talk about who lived in that house by the bridge, or when was that bridge built? What battle happened on this shore that you're going by, in what year and by who? Or it could be a cultural element that talks about the kind of communities that lived or still now do live along the river. What work did they do? How did they interact with the river? How is it important in their lives? And then a quest can also have an environmental focus, which can talk about the biodiversity of the watershed that the river or pond or lake is in, all the creatures that inhabit above and below the water, and the plants that are lining the shore and their diversity. It can also have elements of all of these, which definitely adds interest and depth to your quest. And it's something we're also looking to do more of is bring some attention to our Indigenous and Black history within the Upper Valley. So if there's any of that in the historical context or the cultural context that you can bring into your quest, that's a wonderful thing to include as well. So to give you an idea about what a water quest can be, I thought I would highlight a couple of them that we already have in our directory. And the first one is called the Loon Quest. And I noticed that Nancy, who's on this Zoom, had a beautiful picture of a loon in her square. So the Loon Quest was originally created by two high school seniors back in 2006. And then it was revised last year by Vital Communities. And it has several elements that make it special. It's on a beautiful lake, Mascoma Lake in Enfield, and it has easy accessibility. There is the key element of the quest is that it highlights a once rare bird to the lake, the loon. And it also gives some history about what has happened on this lake and around this lake. And it introduces the importance of clean water. So it has an environmental aspect to it. And it introduces you to a new park. Actually, where this picture was taken is at the Mascoma Lakeside Park, where non-motorized boats can launch from. And they've put some picnic tables there and little dog run area, and it has parking, so it's very accessible and a lovely spot. I've also included the link there at the bottom of this slide where you can find the quest on our website, and all of the quests are on our website and easily searchable there. And this quest employs rhyming verses. Not all quests do, but this one does. Here's an example of a teaching clue. Loons are environmental purists. For many years on Mascoma, they were only tourists. But now they've chosen to nest here. We know that from dyes, our water is clear. So there is bringing in some of the environmental aspect, that there used to be industry along this lake that put dyes into the water and it was quite polluted. it got cleaned up, and the loons have now chosen to stay on and nest on the lake, which is fabulous. And most people will print out the PDF of all the clues. They can take them with them to follow along, but you certainly could also bring them up on your phone from the website. And of course, that saves some paper.
Hey, Sandy, really quick, I just tossed into the chat, but I thought it might be a good point to ask now. You also post updates on the website too, right? So if people do print off the clues, they should absolutely check the website in case, you know, the tree that was used as a point to make a left turn, that tree fell down, they update changes, right?
Exactly. If I'm alerted to a change that happened along a quest route, we try to change it on the website as soon as possible. So yeah, it's always prudent to check the website right before you go on your quest. Absolutely, thank you. So the second quest that I would like to highlight is the HPR River Quest. HPR stands for the Hanover Parks and Recreation. And they created this quest for us last summer. Unbeknownst to us that they were working on it, it just all of a sudden showed up, and I was thrilled. And some key elements that make this one special is that it takes you out on a mighty river, the Connecticut River, and it goes from Wilson's Landing down to Kendall Park, and it tells you some of the history of the land as you go along, and it introduces you to the rich ecosystem of the river along this stretch. And it's not using rhymes. The way they wrote it, it's just 4-line verses. And I'm going to read to you one of the movement clues that they included. Once you've discovered who lives below, it's time to venture on. Exit the inlet and turn left. Here we can spot many trees. So you may notice that I've mentioned teaching clues in the Loon one, and this one, the movement clue. Both types of clue are really key to a successful quest, because of course you want to keep moving people along in the direction that they need to go, and you want to impart some really interesting tidbits about your quest. And so those are the teaching clues, and they provide the learning opportunity. And the movement clue may also, but it's all tied in together. And while both of these quests are, you know, on the water, you need a canoe or a kayak to do them, we have a lot of other quests that are along the sides of rivers and ponds and wetlands, as Kelly mentioned. So you don't have to actually be on the water, but that's a very, very fun way to do it too. So I am going to now cover the basic steps for creating any kind of quest, including a waterway quest. And I've tried to outline them here simply, but I'll go over them in a little more depth. Of course, first, you're going to want to pick your location. And in this case, for a water-based quest, that's going to be a river, a lake, a pond, a wetland. And hopefully it's someplace that you know well, but it may be a place that you want to learn more about also. Then you're going to take an outing and go on a route that you think might be suitable, and look for key points of interest and mark those down. Take a notebook with you. And of course, you may want to do some more research and learn more about this area before you go out and do that. Then you're going to be making a map of your route. And this can be drawn, or it can be taken from Google Maps, or various ways to make your map. And then you're going to decide you're going to write your clues, and they can be rhymes, they can be letter clues where people are looking to fill in some blanks. They can be in the form of haiku. but you just want to write it out, and maybe even before you've decided on your form, you want to just do a free writing of it and then decide how you're going to format it a little more carefully. Then you have to create the box that people are going to find at the end of the quest. And that box will contain a unique stamp. Usually they're hand-carved stamps. And it will have a sign-in book where people who visit will be able to put their name and date and maybe a little reflection. And pens and pencils and perhaps some other information about your quest. Sometimes you'll find an article in there or some pictures of what the area looked like a long time ago, so that you can be quite creative with what's in the box. And then once you've got that in place and you feel pretty confident about your clues, you're going to have somebody test it, maybe a couple of friends or a couple of family members, to go out on your quest, follow your clues, and take note of things that they think might be a bit confusing or that you may have missed that could be a really good element to mention. So that is a sort of a key process for firming up how the quest is going to show for the public. If you want to have it show for the public by giving it to vital communities, that would be the last step, is submitting it, and we can then put it on our website for many people to enjoy. So those are the key 7 things that I think are most important to forming your quest. Now, we have 4 short videos on our website, so you can always go back to these. But I thought they would be very nice to do here. They're quite short and they take us through these steps, so you have a little more detail. And this first one is going to give us some tips on finding a site and using resources to help us learn what key things that we might want to include in our quest. And it's important to remember that we always want to make sure we have permission for a quest in a particular area. So it's a good idea when creating a waterway quest, for instance, to confer with an organization that may be watching over that particular waterway, such as the Black River Action Team or the Connecticut River Conservancy. And then once you've gotten their permission, you can feel all good to go. And we sometimes mention that at the end of the clue PDF, that the quest was created with permission, from whoever it was. Okay, let's see if I can find my cursor here. And I'm going to have to share a new screen, so bear with me for a moment. Oh, it did it so fast before. And now it's churning away.
Gotta love the technology.
I know. Okay, well.
Oh, Cindy, you mentioned sometimes people don't have to go on a waterway quest in a boat. You mentioned terrestrial next to the water, and that got me thinking about the North Springfield Bog, because you are on the water, but you don't need a boat because there are the floating boardwalks. So yeah, there's different ways that you can go explore your community and look for an appropriate place.
Exactly. It's telling me that Microsoft PowerPoint has to restart. So here I go. It's restarting, but I can play you the video while that's restarting. Oh my goodness, that is not what I want. All right, hold on here. Well, I'm going to play this video for you, and oh, no, hold on. Sorry, I think I do have to get back to my PowerPoint so I can or I mean, I have to share my screen again. So we are going to do this, and we're going to share sound. And
Valley Quest is a program of vital communities.
can you hear that?
Welcome, Questers. This video series will guide you through the basics of writing a Valley Quest.
That's coming through.
Great.
To get started, think of a special place. It can be a beautiful or historic place, a location you know well, or perhaps a place you want to learn more about. Choose a site that is accessible to the public and has plenty of parking. If your site is on private property, ask the owners for permission to write a quest there. Now it's time to begin. Your first task is to explore the area in detail. Bring a pencil and a notebook and observe your surroundings. Take note of whatever you find and whatever sticks out. Look for things that you would like to share with other people exploring this area. Always employ good field ethics when outside. Leave no trace of yourself and leave any creatures or plants unharmed. Once you've thoroughly explored your site, delve deeper through additional research. Take advantage of community resources such as the library or your town's historical society. Identify any plants or animals you've seen and find out more about any key people or dates relating to your site. With all the information you've collected, it's time to decide what story you want to tell in your quest. Maybe your quest will explore the history of the town, or perhaps teach about the plants, animals, and natural history of the area. It's all up to you. If you're writing a quest with a school, check out our 4 curricula available on the Valley Quest website. These curricula provide lesson plans and activities to help you enrich your quest writing experience. The next video in this series will go over mapping your quest and plotting the route for your treasure hunt. Thanks for watching, and happy questing.
Okay, so bear with me. I have to get back to my PowerPoint. So let me see if I can do that. Oh, goodness, sorry about this. Yeah, I see what happened. Okay. Should be able to get to it.
You're doing better than I would. I'd be making like cue cards and stuff.
Okay, come on, open up, open up. Here we go. All right. And back to our slides. Okay. Well, you're very patient. Thank you so much, everybody. Now, are you seeing this screen?
No, we're seeing your smiling face, or at least I am.
Okay, hold on. All right, I have to get back to the Zoom and share my screen. There we go.
Well, that looks promising.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Go get to the right one. So the next step is about making the maps. And this is, a fun piece of making a quest because it'll get some of your creative juices going. And this short video will go over, some good things to remember as you create the map. So I will get that up. And I have to share a new screen. Okay. Oh my gosh, there are so many steps. Sorry. Uh-oh, now I've lost track how to do. Here we go.
The good news is it has editing magic.
Valley Quest is a program of vital communities.
Can you hear that?
Hey Valley Questers! In this second video of our series, we'll cover how to make a map of our quest site.
A little louder maybe, but that's good.
Researched the area and decided what we want to include in our quest. It's time to map our site and plot the course of our treasure hunt. First, make a basic sketch map mapping out the key features you observed at your site or learned through your research. You want to include any landmarks, streets, or notable places, as well as any special features you observed in your fieldwork. It doesn't need to be fancy. Just think about where each location lies in relation to others, and feel free to use resources such as print maps, Google Maps, or examples of maps from other quests for helpful ideas. Once you've mapped out your site's key features, think about what would make the most logical and interesting course for your quest that hits all the key points you want to share. For example, if your quest starts in the parking lot, where would you want to lead people first? Then figure out the route for the treasure hunt. While having a map to accompany your quest clues are not a requirement, maps do make a nice addition to any quest. Here are a few examples of quest maps that have been made in the past. In our next video, we'll cover how to write rhyming clues. Stay tuned.
Okay. So now we should get back to the PowerPoint. And here, where we're going to talk about how we write our clues, as I mentioned before, it's always important to just let it flow, and that will help you not freeze up and have writer's block. Just put down your ideas of where to start, the places you want to go, and how it's going to conclude. And then after you get down that basic flow of where you're starting and all the spots, you can then work on the form, whether it's rhyming or finding letters for a special message at the end or a haiku. And for those of us who might not remember what a haiku is, it's the Japanese form of poetry that follows the form of 5-7-5 syllables. And I found a lovely one that has to do with water that I thought I would just read to you. An old silent pond. A frog jumps into the pond. Splash, silence again. So if you're very into poetry, you may want to include that kind of a format in your quest. And I also want to note that at the end of this video, a Valley Quest app is mentioned. And at the moment, we don't have a functioning Valley Quest app, but hope to in the future. So just disregard that for now. And here, let me get this video up for us. And I want to go back to sharing my screen. Oh, come on. Oops. Different share, sorry, here we go. The sound.
Valley Quest is a program of vital communities.
Welcome, Questers! Today we're going to talk about writing clues for your Valley Quest. Rhyming clues are one of the main features that distinguish Valley Quest from other treasure hunts. Quest clues can be written as poems, haikus, or riddles, but they almost always rhyme. This is part of what makes going on a quest so much fun, but it can make it seem a little intimidating to write your very first quest. But don't worry, anybody can write a quest, even if it's been a while since you've been on a treasure hunt. Valley quests are made up of two different types of clues, movement clues and teaching clues. Movement clues guide you from point A to point B, whereas teaching clues teach about what you saw at the site and what you learned through your research. A good quest has a mix of movement clues and teaching clues, where you move from point to point and learn things along the way. Now we're going to write movement clues that will guide questers to all of the key spots identified on your quest route. Think about how you would give someone directions from point A to point B, and then write those directions on a sheet of paper in what we call prose, or plain verse. Then translate those sentences into rhymes. For example, writing in prose, you might say, go 50 steps from the gate until you see a great big elm tree on your left. Then we turn those directions into a simple rhyme, such as, walk 50 paces until you see, on your left, a great elm tree. Teaching clues follow the same logic, but instead of giving directions, they tell a story or teach about what you saw at your site. Here's an example from the Enfield Rail Trail quest, which tells the story of the old Northern Railroad. 2 gangs of workers, 40 men they say, took a year to carve this cut with nary a stay. Gas or steam engines were not yet the rule, hand drills and explosives their only tools. To write your teaching clues, start by writing out your story in plain verse and then translate those sentences into rhymes, just like we did for the movement clues. Now that we've covered the basics, here are some helpful hints. First, go out on a quest or two to get the feel for how Valley Quest clues sound and rhyme. You can access all our quests online through our app on the iTunes Store or from our books in your local library. You'll also find more information and helpful handouts in our 4 Valley Quest curricula available for download on our website. Second, if you're having trouble rhyming, try using a word web to come up with possible rhyming words. Finally, relax and have fun. Your quest rhymes can be silly or funny, and they don't have to be profound. After all, questing is all about learning and having fun. In our final video, we'll cover submitting your quest and making a Valley Quest treasure box. Stay tuned.
Okay, so now we have one more video to watch, and in this last one, sorry, we seem to always go back to the beginning here. I don't know why. You're going to see a little more detail about how to make the treasure box than the stamp and submit your quest to Vital Communities. This is a lovely stamp that was created for the Hanover Parks and Rec quest that I talked about earlier.
Sandy,
So you
we
can
can't
see
see your screen.
Oh, gosh. Okay, hold on. I am not getting the hang of this, am I? So it's not working as smoothly as I'd hoped. I'm so sorry. But here we are. Now, can you see it?
Yep, that looks good.
Yeah, okay. So here we're going to learn about the stamp and the treasure box. And I wanted to mention that we do have some supplies for making stamps that you can borrow from Vital Communities if you don't have those tools yourself. And this is another place where, you know, you can get kind of creative, like with the stamp, just like you could with the map and of the other things you might want to put in your box. And for instance, the Loon Quest has some information about what the name Mascoma means included in there. So when you reach the box, you can read about a little more in depth, some interesting things from your quest. All right, here we go. And
Valley Quest is a program of Vital Communities.
Hello, and welcome to the final video in our series on how to make a Valley Quest. Now that we've studied our site, made a map, and written clues, our quest is just about finished. 2 key steps remain. First, if you want to share your quest with the public, you'll need to send it to us so that we can publish it. Download the quest submission form from our website and follow the instructions to submit your quest. We'll review your quest and post it to our website and app. So now it's time for the final step, the one we've all been waiting for, making our Valley Quest treasure box. So most Valley Quest boxes are just simple Tupperware, a sandwich box. You want it to be something that seals and will keep the water and the elements out, so hopefully everything inside stays dry. We do label these as Valley Quest boxes, so you can get a label from your Valley Quest coordinator. Inside, we have a hand-carved stamp. You can go on our website and learn how to carve a stamp of your own, with your own design. And then we have an ink pad, so that people can go on your quest, use your stamp, and collect an impression. We usually put these in a plastic baggie because they can get a little bit messy. We also then have a sign-in book and a pen, so that people, when they do your quest, they can leave their name, they can write a little message, say that they had a great time going on your quest. And we put this in a baggie also just to keep it dry. You can either use a store-bought little booklet, or you can make your own. Again, we have instructions on our website for how to make your own book. And then we like to include information on Vital Communities and the Valley Quest program. This you can get from your Valley Quest coordinator. So all of these will go inside of our box and go to your hidden destination. So once your quest is published, you will want to continue monitoring your box, and you might need to replace some of the contents if they get wet or soaked. Every November 1st, we bring our boxes indoors for the winter, and we count up the signatures in your login book, and you'll give those to your Valley Quest coordinator. Then on May 1st, we put the boxes back out of their hiding places, and the cycle begins anew. So we hope you've enjoyed this series. Go forth and write some quests.
Okay. Well, thank you for bearing with me. And now I know I need to share my screen. Really, it's just the last slide. Hold on one moment. Here we go.
Nagpakita ang Press Secretary kay Pangulong Gloria Macapagal Arroyo ng kumpiyansa na magpapatuloy ang negosasyon. Sa isang pahayag, sinabi ng pangkat ng teroristang MILF na ang atake ay kagagawa ng mga walang pusong kriminal at nagdemanda ng malayang investigasyon.
Your camera?
I don't know what that is. I'm so sorry. What on earth is that? Okay. Well, everybody, I am having technical difficulties. Okay. There we go. So I am now open for questions. I do apologize. This is a new era for me to be presenting like this. So I had a last slide, which basically just has our email on it, which is valleyquest@vitalcommunities.org. You could put that in the chat. And I am happy to answer any questions that might have come up.
No, I have a quick one. I can hear myself on your screen, so I'll try to make it quick. In terms of folks who actually want to do a paddling quest where you actually do need to be in a canoe or a kayak, I'm thinking of trying to do one down at not Herrick's Cove, I love that place, but at Hoyt's Landing in Springfield, the big public boat access. And the concern I had was if I get people to launch there and then paddle up to, let's say, the Paddock Road Bridge, which would be going further upstream than that, the water gets a little shallow. It's harder to, you're not going to be able to paddle all the way to the waterfall. Would it be preferable to try to hide the box somewhere around the bridge abutments or back at the cove and the landing where they launch? So they come up, they do some stuff, they follow their clues, and then they go back. And, you know, yeah, you could cheat because then you park at the landing and you can just go, you know, mentally walk your way through and just find the box. Or is it something where does it make sense to kind of lead them up and you're going to be looking for, you know, they have to collect clues? I'm sorry, I'm rambling here, but I've seen quests where people have like a fill in the blank. It's almost like playing hangman. As you're going up, you have to find such and such, and what's the color of the dock on the left bank just before the bridge. And that's one of your clues to get to the next thing, So when you do get back to the landing, you put all your clues together, take the first letter of everything, and that'll tell you where to go find your quest box.
That's a little bit more fun, don't you think?
It's kind of involved, but it's trying to figure out how to get people to go out and back and not just say, yeah, we're here. Oh, there's the box.
Yeah. So
really make it
the Loon Quest, for instance, does go out and comes back, and you find the box somewhere near where you started there. The HPR River one, the box is halfway and then you're going to come back. So they really do vary. And I think you just have to see what feels the most natural to you for that particular site. And has it, you know, finding a good spot. Something to remember is that people sometimes, without really meaning to, they let children, you know, pick up a box they find, they move it around, it doesn't get back in the same place. Maybe sometimes there's some vandalism, though that's rare. So it's good to think about a nice protected spot for the box. And that's one more thing I wanted to mention, is that sometimes we've had bird boxes built that aren't really bird boxes, and that's where the quest box is hidden, inside these bird houses. And if they're, you know, well protected, that can be an overwintering quest too. So you wouldn't be on the water necessarily in the winter, but if your quest was along the banks of a river or a lake, it could be a winter quest, and we could put that in the directory, that it's possible to do in the winter.
That's a super idea. Make us kind of like the hiding your house keys under a fake rock. Finding a place where you can only, like I'm thinking down at the landing, you still have to paddle across the cove to get to the other shoreline. If you had a little sneaky spot in there that you could get permission to erect a fake bird box, and that could be your quest. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's a good way to do it. Any other questions?
So Arlene had a comment in the chat, said seems difficult to have one on the shore. It could be tricky because the water level can go up or down, and you don't want to have to get out of your kayak or canoe.
That's a good point. And there have been some instances of boxes disappearing downstream. So, you know, you would have to plan for that. And that might be why hiding the box where you launch is a good idea, because hopefully, you know, that's a safe place to bring your kayak or canoe in and out. And the way the Loon Quest used to be written, the box was at the top of a very large boulder, like partway out on the quest. And it was tricky. It was tricky getting to it. And so that's been revamped now so that it's at the same park where you launch. But good point. You need to think about that, because our water levels will go up and down. We know that for sure. Anything else? Well, I wanted to mention too that every year we have a super quest that we launch in May that has a particular theme. And this year it is climate connections. So the super quest involves a subset of our 160 quests. And the idea is to do at least 5 of those that are in that subset. And you collect the stamp impressions from those and you send that in to us. And then you get a unique, specially made patch for this super quest. And you also get entered into a grand prize drawing in December for a prize. There was one a few years ago that was Aqua Adventures that focused on the watershed and the different parts of our watershed along the Connecticut. And you can still look at that on our website under the Super Quest tab. But I encourage you to check out the Climate Connections one as it opens up in May. And it's to hopefully, open our eyes to some of the ways our Upper Valley is resilient and adapting to climate change, and in many different ways. So, yeah. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sandy. Anyone else have questions for Sandy or for Kelly? Okay, not hearing anything, not seeing anything. I just want to share my screen really briefly, and hopefully you can see some of our programs. Yes? Did I share correctly? Okay. Yes. So we do have a number of programs coming up at the library beyond this one. There's a Social Security program coming up on Saturday. We're rewatching Race Amity on the 14th. Pollinators and natives and avatars and non-native plants on the 21st. The fellow that's doing the funny program about funny programs, he's coming back. He did a Red Sox one and he did an animation one, and it was very enjoyable. It's Fair Housing Month, so we have a tenant workshop, and it's also Poetry Month. So there's lots of stuff coming up at the Springfield Town Library, and we welcome your participation in all of it. Thank you very much, everyone. And we hope you have a good night. Unless, Kelly, you have anything else to say?
No, I just thank you guys all for coming, and I'm looking forward to sharing the recording.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
I hope we can edit out some of the difficulties.
Well, I don't have the editing capabilities, but everybody will certainly understand because everybody's in the same boat in terms of learning Zoom. So thank you, everybody. Have a good night.